Good afternoon, everybody. We are making naan and some tzatziki sauce today. So with naan, it's a skillet flatbread, traditional to India, and we're gonna make our own kind of variation in it, on it. For ingredients today, we have 3.5 cups of flour, and it's just plain all-purpose flour. If you wanted to do a little bit of whole wheat, you could. We're going to add to that flour, it's 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and that's going to give it some additional rise once it goes and hits the heat. We have a 1¼ teaspoons of salt and 2 teaspoons of yeast, and I'm going to add my yeast to my milk, which I have microwaved, so it's on the warm side. And we're going to just mix all of our dry ingredients so everything's evenly dispersed. I'm also just going to mix the yeast into the water. And we're using active dry. You can also use instant. Don't use rapid rise. And then for our wet ingredients, I have some butter that I've melted. Traditionally, you might see in recipes ghee, which is butter with the milk solids removed. If you don't want to use either of those, you could also use oil. Now, I'm gonna add an egg, and an egg is not traditional to this recipe, but I like it because it kind of gives the flatbread a little bit of like a cakey texture, and I like it. It does provide a little bit of color, and when I add my egg to the fat, it evenly distributes all those fat particles into one homogeneous mixture, which I like. All right. So we are going to take our yeast mixture, put it into our flour. We're going to add our egg and butter. And you could make this in the KitchenAid. I just didn't feel like bringing it out today. You could also make it in the, and then we're also going to add our yogurt. This is whole milk Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is just yogurt that's kind of like strained out, so it has like a thicker consistency, and you can kind of see it here. This is just regular plain yogurt. It's a little bit thinner. Here, this is the Greek yogurt. It's much thicker, as you can see as I shake it down, okay? All right, so we are going to just mix this with our spatula. And you'll typically see yogurt in the naan. It adds a little bit of like a richness, a little bit of tang, which is kind of nice. That butter is going to add some fat, a little bit of tenderness. Now, when we bake these, traditionally a naan is made in a tandoori oven, and I don't know about you, but I don't have a tandoori oven in my house. An alternative is going to be a griddle, which is here, okay, that I have inverted a half sheet pan on top, and you're gonna figure out why I did that in a little bit. Now, if you don't have a griddle, what else could you use? Well, you could also use a cast iron skillet, okay? Or what you can do is you can take a half sheet pan, and I'm kind of smoking here, so I'm just gonna lower this a little bit. So you would take this half sheet pan and you would put it in your oven. Okay, some people have like baking tiles or like a baking steel, but not everybody has that, okay? So you have a few different options for baking them. And this dough is slightly sticky, but most everything is absorbed. So I'm just gonna leave it as is, okay? And we'll come back to it. So this is going to proof for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the temperature of the room, okay? Once you do that, you will cut that dough and I made 11 pieces. If you wanted to make 12, cut 12 equal pieces. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your circle, okay? And you're gonna roll it out. So you need a little bit of flour, not a lot. And I just kind of stretch the dough a little bit. It should be like in this like tear drop shape, if you will. And you can use whatever you have to roll it. Just kind of start in the middle and go. Down. So they don't all have to like be perfect. I do like this size because I feel like it's big enough if I wanted to like put a piece of chicken on here. I could, okay. And then you would let this get a puffy for about, I would say 15 minutes or so. All right, now, the other 4 have been sitting there for about 15 minutes or so. So they are ready to bake. Now, you don't need any oil on your griddle, okay? And I'm gonna do, we'll do 3. Okay. And I would say about 2 minutes on that side. We'll set a timer really quick. In the meantime, we will make some not naan. We're gonna make some tzatziki sauce. Now, again, this is my variation. Tzatziki sauce traditionally has grated cucumber that has been like salted, and then all of that water is strained out. But this is more of like a garlic and like herb dip. So it's like an adaptation on that sauce. All right, so I have here my yogurt, and we have a series of herbs. Now, what are these herbs? We have parsley, there's dill, there's chives, there's oregano, and there is mint, okay? And that's all from my garden. And again, this is the garden version. In the winter time, it doesn't really get fresh herbs per se. It gets more of the dried herbs. And again, you put the amounts that you like. I would say it probably has about 2 tablespoons of each. It has 1 nice garlic clove and maybe a good 3/4 of a cup of parsley, only because, well, I like a lot of parsley. Okay. To that, we are gonna add a dash of salt. What's a dash of salt? That was a pretty decent dash. I would say maybe 1/2 teaspoon. All right, so that's our 2 minutes. You're gonna use some tongs. I'm just gonna use my fingers. Please use tongs, don't use your fingers like I am. Okay. And I would say it needs another 2 minutes. And I'm just gonna cover it. And that'll kind of act like a little oven, if you will. All right, so we have our salt. We're gonna add some freshly ground black pepper, a little bit of cumin. You don't have to add this if you don't want to. How much? I don't know, 1/8 of a teaspoon. And then 1/2 of a lemon. Some people add olive oil. I don't, but if you wanted to, you could. All right. And then you're just gonna mix this up. Now, I'm seasoning it now, but I also season it once it's been sitting in the refrigerator right before I use it, because you're gonna find that the garlic flavor gets stronger, and you'll find that you may need a little bit more salt, okay? But this is gonna be our, we'll say it's an herb tzatziki sauce, okay? So there you go. This is great on some roasted chicken, some roasted potatoes. It's great as a dip for the naan. All right. All right, so that's perfect. It has a little bit of browning on one side, okay? And this has not been relaxing for a good 15 minutes, but that's okay. We're just gonna bake it anyway. All right, and this time we're gonna put the cover on and see if it makes any difference. Set our timer for 2 minutes. All right. So, let's check out the naan. It's fully cooked, and that took literally 4 minutes with your, or cooking it on the griddle, okay? These are thick enough that you could pry them apart and make like a little pocket for a sandwich, which is absolutely yummy. Okay, and just going back to our original dough, it's been sitting and then it was giving me a lot of resistance. Now it's much easier to kind of give it some extra folds. Okay, you don't need any special equipment. And when you let the dough rest, it's easier to manipulate. Okay, so I would say it is fully mixed. Okay, now I'm gonna wrap that and I'm gonna give this a quick taste and we'll tell you what you think, what I think. This is perfect. It's nice and soft. The dip is perfect and tangy. My potatoes are coming out of the toaster, ready for me to eat dinner. Make this for your dinner. It's a quick skillet flatbread with a great dip. Enjoy. Have a beautiful day.